Hello and welcome back to Hawkeye. We're here today with the two girls. So today we have Siobhan and Kiva back again. We're going to be looking at the latest fixtures coming up this weekend in ladies football. But first, let us review the All-Ireland semi-finals from last week. We'll start off with the All-Ireland intermediate. So 2 games, Westmeath and Roscommon, fantastic game. Westmeath obviously coming out on top. Siobhan?
Yeah, as I think all of us said, that was going to be a battle right to the end. The Westmeath coming out winning by 2 points. Caroline Conway was in superb form in midfield for Roscommon there, and Tracy Dillon was on Higgins, and both of them, you could just see the battle between 2 of them. That was just right there, and Karen Hegarty's attack was just really good for Westmeath there.
You know, delighted for Westmeath, such a fantastic young team. You know, they put up a great performance and they really proved themselves on the pitch last week. So the first half got off to a great start. You know, key player Kira Blundell, as we mentioned last week, you know, scoring a crucial goal in the first few minutes. So followed by another from Karen Hegarty. So, you know, it was a back and forth game in the second half really, and the Rossies managed to get back with just a point of Westmeath. A sib in from Joanna Maher, you know, certainly put pressure on their side, but Westmeath were able to hold their lead and a spot in the All-Ireland final. So
Yeah, fantastic. I know they obviously came down from senior last year and they want to bounce straight back up. Watching the game as a neutral, I actually thought Roscommon were the better team. I didn't think Westmeath would actually come out of it, but Roscommon actually really pushed. It only for the 2 goals is what separates, and Westmeath, as we've seen in the last couple of games, goals have been got goals, and as you say, Kira Blundell, she's a St. Loman's girl, I know her quite well. She's fantastic at scoring them goals, so if they can get the ball to her, really, really dangerous. And the other intermediate semi-final was between Clare and Meath, and Meath came out easy winners. You know?
Yeah, there was early goal from Eva Sullivan and Stacey Grimes in the opening 10 minutes for Meath that really set it off for them. But I think Meath's defence was just, there was no way back for Clare after that. And I think Stacey Grimes there for Meath is just one to watch out for, with loads of key passes and scoring 2-6 as well there. Meath as well in the second half, scoring 2-7 without reply. And then, as I mentioned before, Monica McGurk, the all-star keeper for Meath, was called into action a good few times, and some fine saves from her. And then Clare sent several shots wide, so that was their downfall there.
you know, as we mentioned last week, you know, key player Stacey Grimes, again, she was the top performance. You know, she proved her Gaelic abilities in scoring those 2 goals and 4 points. So Meath were very relaxed on the ball, as you could see. Their defence was brilliant, like nothing short of brilliant. They turned over so many clear, you know, attacks. So it was a great performance from them.
Yeah, holding a team to 4 points is not easy. So like unbelievable, as you say, the goalkeeper here is well known. Big Midlands derby now between Meath and Westmeath in the final. Who do you think's going to win? Obviously, I know we'll look at the game more next week before the actual final. But who do you think's going to?
I'd love to see Westmeath win, but I think Meath might just have the edge on them. So my prediction probably will go to Meath, but both Westmeath do.
There you go. Well, obviously, I know Meath have been in the last. This is their 3rd final in a row intermediate. They lost 2 years ago. 2 years ago against Tyrone. They lost last year as well. So they're actually going for 3rd time lucky. What do you think?
I'd love to see Westmeath. You know, there's a few people local playing on it, so you'd like to see them win anyways. But maybe, as Siobhan said, Meath might have the upper hand and them a bit more experience. But hopefully the girls can really put it to them, and it should be a good game anyways. You know.
Yeah, fingers crossed. And I know in our school we actually were very fortunate. We actually have a Westmeath player, and girls you are going to be interviewing her next week.
Yeah.
We're very, very excited. So we look forward to that next week of actually speaking to Emma Donnelly, one of the Westmeath players, before her All-Ireland final, what the lead-up is like for it. Also, going through to the senior, the big one there at the weekend, Dublin Armagh, fantastic game. Went down to the wire, 3-13 to 3-8. I don't think a lot of people thought Armagh would be that close.
No, I think Dublin there, just I think before the game, I think it was announced name goal kicker Siobhan McGrath were returning for them. So I think that kind of gave Dublin that boost of confidence with those 2 experienced players, especially Siobhan McGrath, player of the year last year.
Mm-hmm.
Carla Rowe was just outstanding for Dublin, scoring 2-4. But then again, if you look at Armagh, you've Amy Mackin scoring 2-4 as well. Both, one was from a penalty, both players. As you said, Dublin probably would have had a plan for Amy Mackin, but you could see she was double marked, and there was probably even 3 players around her at some stages.
And she still managed to score, what was it, 3-4?
2-4, yeah.
3-4, unbelievable.
As we always do mention when Armagh comes, Amy Macklin, but I think she just proved herself again there again, why we always mention her. And I think there was also a shot there just before the throw-in when Owens was called in for her first start since her knee injury for Dublin. So that kind of gave them that boost as well.
You know, as we said last week, you know, we knew it would be a fantastic game, and we did predict that Armagh would maybe come out on top, but they did show Dublin a great game altogether though. We've seen Dublin's captain, Sinead Ahern, was rescued off the field, you know, after just 20 minutes due to a hamstring injury, so that was a bit disappointing for her, but after a short play time, you know, she did manage to get one or two few points for her team, so yeah, as you said, my player of the match would look to be Carla Rowe, again scoring 2-4 for her side, a fantastic score from the penalty and well taken, you know, she really stepped up and a fantastic eye for goals and great scoring thought, so.
Yeah, for that, obviously when Ahern went off for Dublin, Armagh hadn't scored. So they actually went 17 minutes without actually scoring, so it was only when Ahern went off that Armagh really kicked in. So very, very interesting. Dublin will need her back at full fitness. They obviously will get an extra week rest before, so fingers crossed. Obviously you want to see the best players playing. Dublin All-Ireland champions, probably looking again, going for winning another. They're dominating men's and women's here at the minute.
Yeah.
And that leads us on to the next one. So this weekend we've actually a few games going ahead. We'll start off just to keep with the senior football. The All-Ireland semi-final between Cork and Galway is taking place. Siobhan, kick us off.
Yeah, Cork has dual players there who started playing for Camogie, and since they got knocked out there in the Camogie, I don't think they'll want the same result here. And
Because that happened last year too.
Yeah.
The Cork got played both in the Camogie and women's football semi-finals last year.
I don't think they want to repeat of that. Saoirse Noonan's on board for them there, and Galway do seems to be getting a better start from every match they played, but I think Cork could probably edge it over.
You think Cork could edge it over? Alright, and Keevan?
No, it should be a great game. I think we're up for a fantastic show of football, so both sides are very well matched. My players to watch will be Lindsay Noon for Galway. She's a fantastic eye for goals, which we've seen in previous games, and Anya Sullivan for Cork. Again, you know, once allowed space, there's no stopping her really. So I don't know, I'm not too sure. I think Cork maybe would be a bit hungry for the win. So
There you go, yeah. Cork, Galway, I think it could be Cork. I can't see, I know the Camogie players are now available. It takes their mind off it so they can actually play. The big news, obviously, you might have heard last night, was about the fixture of the game. The game was meant to be actually in Gaelic grounds in Limerick. Did you hear this last night? So what's happened in the ladies' football is that game was fixed for Gaelic grounds in Limerick, but it has now been moved to Parnell Park in Dublin, because the Limerick hurling team are training at 1:30 on Sunday, obviously before the All-Ireland hurling final. Big controversy last night. I've seen a lot of reaction on social media. Obviously, Limerick saying, well, it's our ground, we should have the right to play on it. And then, but other people saying, well, how is it fair that Cork girls are being asked to travel 5 hours to Dublin, Galway 3 hours to Dublin, when Limerick would be halfway for the
I
two of
think
them?
that just again shows that the men are then getting priority ahead of the ladies, and since it's an All-Ireland semi-final, you'd think that Limerick might just have that bit of respect and let them play, and they'd change their timing for training after.
If there's any other pitch in the county that they could play on, there's loads of club pitches there. There's LIT, if they were going to say about hard pitches, because Limerick IT actually have the all-weather pitches. I played it myself, fantastic pitch. But yeah, again, that shows possibly men are getting the dominance over, and what does that leave us for women's sport. And the last game we're going to review, or look forward, or preview, looking forward for next week, is the All-Ireland Junior Final, alright, between Fermanagh and Wicklow. Fermanagh obviously were beaten last year by Louth. Some great players. Emer Smith is one of the top players. Wicklow obviously came down from intermediates. Probably the favourites going into this. What are we thinking?
Yeah, I'd say Wicklow probably will be going in favourites, and Fermanagh I think know that as well. Wicklow scoring 7-11 in the semi-final, and their full forward line was accounted for 6-8 of that. So I just think if Fermanagh's full back line is awake, I think they're going to, Wicklow will start off with a big lead, and that's very hard to come back. Fermanagh just edging it over against Limerick. They could cause an upset again, their third year in a row, but I think Wicklow could just take it.
You're going to go for Wicklow, Keelan?
Yeah, no, as you've seen from Fermanagh, this is their third All-Ireland final, trying to get back up, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So I think they're a very strong side, as you see in the game against Limerick, but maybe Wicklow, they're a fresh team, they're a bit more hungry for the win, maybe to get back up. But we've seen Fermanagh, as you mentioned, Emer Smith, she's a crucial player for them, and they take no prisoners as well. So Wicklow as well are a brilliant team, and I couldn't see it go either way, but I'd like to see a new team win, so Wicklow, I'd like to see them go back.
You're saying both of them are great. I'm going to shout for Fermanagh. Obviously, played against them last year when I managed London Ladies, so it would be look, big shout out to them. It would be great for the county to be able to go up. Emer Smith, fantastic player. She's only 19 or 20. She's so young, and a lot of ability in her already. All right, folks. Thank you very much. That's ladies. We look forward to seeing the results this weekend. We will be back with the boys' football after these adverts.
As I'm sure you all know, there was no men's football matches on at the weekend. So to start off today's show, we're going to do a preview of next weekend's action in the All-Ireland semi-final, where we have Cavan against Dublin and Mayo against Tipperary. Starting off with Dublin against Cavan. Dublin are looking for their 6th All-Ireland in a row and their 13th altogether, whereas Cavan are looking for their 6th All-Ireland in their history. How do you see this one playing out?
I see, Cavan did have a shock victory over Donegal, not only knew they were going to win. But Dublin are just still a powerhouse in the Irish football, just unbelievable team. The way they're shooting, they're defending, their teamwork, everything is just immaculate, compared to Cavan, who their own team now they don't have much experience as Dublin do, Dublin are going for their 6th and Cavan going for their 6th of their history. So I'd like to back Dublin on this again, it's just every year you're back in Dublin, but I'd love to see Cavan. I think everyone would love to see Cavan, but I think Dublin just might have the extra experience, and they're just an unbelievable team.
Yeah, Cavan are doing great at the moment. Coming up through Ulster, they have a few good wins. It's good to see Cavan winning, and they did a great win there in the final. And even though saying that, I just don't think they can bring that through to the Dublin game, because Dublin are a different animal. They're another level above everyone else. I think. They're just not quite there yet at the Dublin standards, so I think Dublin will take the win.
Well, I think it was any other team. I think I'd put my money on Cavan. Their mentality the last few games has been fantastic. They've been behind most of the games at half time and they've come to win them again. So I think, like I said, if it was any other team, I would put my money on Cavan. But I think Dublin are like a machine. So put my money on Dublin.
We also saw in the Leinster final Cormac Costello getting sent off, and we saw Dublin utilising the mark very well. Do you think Cormac Costello coming back has a good effect on the game for Dublin?
I don't think it does for Dublin really. I think it's pretty much the same team. They're the sort of team that can bring off one man and bring on another the same quality as the one that just came off, bar maybe a few standout players. But I think to have Costello back is big for Dublin. But I don't think he'll be needed in the win against Cavan, or if they beat Cavan.
What are your thoughts on how they used the mark throughout the game?
Yeah, they did. They used it well. Putting in the long balls, catching them, and then it's obviously free straight on goal. It's a big advantage if you do have someone in the full forward line who's able to get up and catch those balls.
Yeah, but even Dublin, they don't have to kick them in height or for forward. They can just kick it to wide and then catch it, and then just have another way to just pass it in or do it quick. Or even if anyone can catch it from the Dublin forward line, they can pull up from most angles. But Dublin are good at just getting the ball into the mark in a different area where they can shoot and have no more full forwards inside. So they're utilising it well either. But
I think Dublin used the mark really well. I personally don't agree with the use of the mark. I think the 45 mark. I just think it slows down the game, and I don't know. I don't agree with it myself. But Dublin used it fantastically. They were winning all their games by using this mark, and obviously they're well able to score from play. They scored 8 marks in the last 10 games, which is super. And Paddy Small scored 2, I think, against Meath with the mark. So it just shows how effective it can be in games.
Yeah, but it is now, it is well for Dublin to use, to kick it in and get it, and it's not definitely slow down the game too much, especially from Dublin's way. I do like the mark because, gives forward a chance to just hold up a ball a bit and if have runners off their shoulders if they don't or take a score.
Yeah, as a forward, you prefer it. Like.
Yeah, as a forward, I do prefer it.
But the ones from the goal kicks as well, I agree with them because I think it's harder to win a goal kick than. Whereas, like, if you're well ahead of your man on the forward line, which is hard done, but it's easier for a goal kick,
Yeah.
Whereas if you get the kick pass in and you get into the forward line, I think it slows down the game. And the fact that it's from a scoreable angle as well for most cases.
Kevin, as a defender, how do you feel about it?
Yeah, I feel from your own kickouts, if you can get your hands on the kick out outside the 45, it is you get the opportunity to play off the ball without getting pressure on you, which is good. But the attacking mark is kind of a different story. If you have the really big tall players, it would benefit them a lot more if they get their hands on them.
It's such a big advantage to have that. It's like a free chance at possession. It's like every time you get a free kick or a goal kick, it's like a clean slate. You have a free chance to win the ball and take your score.
Yeah, if you play it to your advantage, you can definitely rack up a lot of scores.
Yeah, exactly. Now moving on to our other semi-final of Mayo against Tipperary. Mayo are looking to break their infamous curse that they seem to have, while Tipperary, who are arguably the biggest underdogs left in the competition, are looking to continue their good run of form, coming off a big victory against Cork. How do you see this one playing out?
I think Tipperary, just emotionally, I'd love to put my money in Tipperary. In the Munster final of the week, I think it was 2 weeks ago, we all said Cork. I think Kevin might have said Tipperary, but I know we didn't expect it at all. So it's been the year for shocks, and I don't know. I really can't call this one.
I think Tipperary they really came true to win against Cork. At the moment, I honestly don't think Mayo are performing to their usual standard. Yeah, they got Galway, but just about. I don't think they're at their standard they should be at, for terms of All-Ireland semi-final. And I think Tipperary would edge them over and win.
Yeah, but the thing about the two teams, they have Killian O'Connor Mayo and then Conor Sweeney, the captain and Tip, If them two are playing well, it'll be a good game, but if one of them are off, if Killian O'Connor isn't hitting the frees or Conor Sweeney isn't hitting them or having something played, could be either way, I think Tipperary, just for the pure emotion, they might get through. And Mayo have been slacking the last few years, but I think it mostly depends on big midfielders like Matthew Moran and Aidan O'Shea as well for Mayo.
They've been very flat-footed.
Yeah,
last few
so
games.
Tip are a very fast team. They'll get it up quick, and Mayo just like to slow it down and then hit it quick on the counter.
I thought the Tipperary defence as well in the Munster final. I thought Tipperary defence was fantastic. I thought Cork really struggled to get their scores. A lot of goal chances where Tipperary just put men in front of goals and just defended in a unit. I was really impressed by that.
Yeah, I think Killian O'Connor might be a double mark nearly for everyone tracks back. Good work rate for Tipperary, but you never know. Like Mayo could do the same for Conor Sweeney. So I don't know really where it's going to go, but I'd love to see Tip win. So I'm just going to back up Tip and say they will.
Yeah, Tipperary do play as a team, and it's lovely to watch them play together.
Obviously, Mayo and Tipperary have two big sets of passionate fans. Do you think it's disappointing to see this game not being played in front of a crowd?
Oh, sure, look, it's with all this COVID going on, obviously, it's really taken a lot of the excitement and joy out of the championship. But we've been graced with really brilliant games, and it's been really strange. Obviously, the same 4 teams as it was 100 years ago in the semi-finals now, which is really strange. But like I said, we've been graced with a good championship, so it kind of makes up for the fact that there's no fans at the games.
I think they perform nearly a bit better without the fans, a bit less pressure, but for some reason they can give you more energy and get you through. But I think in some reasons, if you're say if you're away in the Dublin Croke Park, you're playing Dublin, everyone's booing if you're shooting in the Hill 16, it gets a little bit less pressure on you because you don't really have the shots. But other fans still cheering you on, that could really motivate you to go stronger. But I know they'd love to see the fans there to see them actually play, but it has to be done, the COVID-19 rules. So
Yeah, I agree with Ross. I think it takes it really shows how good teams are really, and technically how good they are. It just shows how they don't have to rely on emotional or the fans roaring at them to kind of get them riled up. You see a team like Dublin who literally have just technically perfected the game, and that they don't need their fans, you know. Obviously it helps, but it just shows against the game against Meath how they're just able to just go in and get the job done and then leave.
Now in other news, Tyrone have chosen Fergal Logan and Brian Dooher to become their new senior managers on a 3-year term. How do you think new faces around the club will affect Tyrone? Obviously losing a manager like Mickey Hart is never a positive, but do you think Tyrone can turn this into a good situation?
Yeah, I think Fergal Lohan and Ryan Dewar, they worked together with the under-21s before, so yeah, I think they'll be good now. I don't think they'll change too much. I think they'll come in and kind of maybe continue what Mickey Hart was doing, maybe tweak it a little bit, but I don't think they'll change it too much. Yeah, they both excellent resumes anyway. Ryan Dewar, he captained their own to All-Ireland in 2005 and 2008, which is great. You know, he would have he'll have a lot of tactics under his belt, you know, from playing himself, and it'd be great to see him great.
Yeah, I agree with Kevin. I think the fact that Dooher was a captain, you know, I think if it was any other player that might be a different story. I think there's a big difference between playing and managing a team. But I think that the fact that Dooher was a captain, and he's done so well with Tyrone as captain, I think he certainly will do well. He's good at, you know, he's that leadership quality that all managers need.
Brian Dewar captained them to 2 All-Irelands in 2005 and 2008. Do you think that's good for the young players looking up at him for advice and stuff like that?
Yeah, I think it's great. I think it's relatable for the players as well. You know, he's a young lad, or he's young enough for a manager, and like I said, relatable for the players. I think this is a new Tyrone side, and I think they have a lot of young lads coming up, and it's like a clean slate for the team now, and hopefully they can go through Ulster now with differently next year.
Yeah, you know, I think so, especially if I myself am looking to train a manager who has won All-Ireland, it'd be a big boost, you know. Say you could win it, you know, but I'd love to play under a manager who's won, especially 2 All-Irelands and has been captain of the team, so leadership role is experience. They have a lot of experience, they know what to do, they know how to handle pressure, they know the ins and outs of everything of an All-Ireland final, so if they know that and they can put into their game in championship and league games, you know, it'd be very good to have 2 great Tyrone footballers now as your manager. You probably looked up to them when you were younger, watched them play, and now they're managing you and they can show you what they have done.
Yeah, I think the Conor McKenna return from Australia would be good. They'll be fired up with a few new players for the league. Colin McShane is coming up there. Having 2 players coming up to the squad or joining, so they will be fired up for the league.
Where the Collie Bones and Joe McMahon coming in as 2 other Tyrone players in the backroom team for Tyrone. So just to have, like I said, all these new lads coming in, new slate for Tyrone, and I think especially after being knocked out so early, obviously against a super team like Donegal up in Ulster, but obviously disappointing. And now I just think they're going to come in next year and really just look like a different team, I think.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see how it all plays out. Now, that's all from us today. Thank you for listening. We'll be back next week with our review from all the weekend's action.